All right, what is up, everyone? First off, thank you so much for clicking on my video, taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I truly appreciate it. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about, do you need a computer science degree in order to become a software engineer? I'll be sharing my experience and my opinion on the matter, and hopefully I can help answer this question. I do have some notes in front of me. If I'm looking down at any point, I'm just looking at my notes. Without further ado, let's begin. All right, so firstly, let me just say right off the bat, do you need one? No, you don't need a degree, right? It's just that simple. People have been getting hired as software engineers for a long time. Before, of course, right now, the economic situation is not the best, so maybe less so now. But I've still seen success stories as of fairly recently of people getting hired into software engineering without a computer science degree. So, right off the bat, saying you need one would just be false, right? It's not true because there are counterexamples of it. With that said, though, I would 100% still recommend going down the computer science degree route. And I'm going to touch on around 4 points about why I think a degree is the best route, right? So, the first point I'd like to touch on is I know that it works, right? I pursued a computer science degree about 2 years ago, and now I'm employed at a company which I enjoy working at as a software engineer, making the salary that I wanted to make. So I know it works, and that's why I feel comfortable recommending it to other people when people ask me, hey, what's the best path forward? I don't hesitate to say that, in my opinion, a computer science degree is the best path forward, right? Now, to build on that a little bit, just about everyone I've worked with as well also has a computer science degree. Now, that kind of reiterates my point and further proves the value of a degree. The only person on my team who doesn't have a computer science degree, they still have like a STEM related degree, so they have a master's in chemistry, and they were programming from a young age. So they're kind of an exception compared to most people trying to get into this career. But just about everyone else that I've worked with has a computer science degree, which I do believe further proves its value in the job market. And I mean, it's just one of the safest and most battle tested ways to get to your goal of being a software engineer, right? Like I said before, most software engineers that you'll run into, or at least that I've run into, I guess, I don't have the statistics on it, right? So I don't want to make a factual claim. But in my experience, most software engineers that I've run into, they have had computer science degrees. Of course, I have a computer science degree, and it seems to be the most battle tested and safest path forward. We know that generally speaking, if you go to school, you get a computer science degree, you do well in your courses, you get internship experience, you are in a very good place in terms of probabilities to get hired as a software engineer once you graduate, right? When you're self-taught, it's more of a wild card. You have to build projects, you have to go out, network a lot, and hope that someone takes a chance on you because you don't have kind of that degree backing you up, saying that this person, knows how to code, knows computer science fundamentals, etc., etc. So when I'm recommending a path to people, I always want to recommend the safest path, right? Because I want people to get to their goal. So in my opinion, again, the computer science degree is one of the most battle tested, safest paths we know to get from point A to point B. Point B, of course, being becoming a software engineer, and that's why I always recommend it, and I don't hesitate to recommend it. The second point I want to bring up is the internship and connections that you get from a degree, right? Now, I did my degree online, so I kind of missed out on the connections part. I didn't get to make any friends because there was no real social aspect to an online degree, but I did get to take advantage of the internship aspect. And the internship that I got, right, had I not gotten that internship experience, I would not be in the position that I'm in today, right? I only got the job that I have today because I had similar relevant experience through my internship, and I was able to leverage that into the job that I had. And not just that, the company that I interned at, they actually wanted to bring me on as a full-time employee. So before I'd even graduated, I had these two doors open for me. One, the company where I'm currently working, and the company that I interned at, they wanted to take me on as an employee as well, right? So I think the value of an internship and connections can't really be understated, right? Say you make a lot of connections during your computer science program. Once you're out, you're in the job market, you're trying to get your foot in the door. You see someone working at a company you like, and they may be a friend from one of your classes. You can ask them for a referral, try to get your foot in the door that way. And also with internships, so many times, people, they get internships. Internships usually have a lower barrier to entry, right? It's less risky for a company to hire you as an intern, costs them less money, and If they don't want to take you on, of course, once your contract ends, that's the end of it. So it's less risky for a company to offer you that internship opportunity. And a lot of times from that internship opportunity is where full-time opportunities open up for people, right? Whether at the same company or again, they leverage that experience. So I think internships and connections are extremely valuable, and you would get that from a degree program. Of course, if you're self-taught, you can still build connections. I don't mean to say you can't, but being in the same room as a bunch of like-minded people as you would in a degree program is very valuable. Next, a degree is going to provide you with important core CS knowledge, right? Now, here is another important aspect, and I'm going to give an example of my current work experience. So, currently, I'm dealing with some Docker things right now. What Docker is, if you're not familiar, is less important. But just to give like a very brief summary, when you're dealing with Docker, you also need to have some some knowledge about operating systems and networking, right? And this is all knowledge that I had gotten from my CS degree program. So when I went back to brush up on it, it was a lot easier because it was things I had learned in the past. So when I went to brush up on it, it kind of started clicking pretty quickly, right? Now, had I been a self-taught engineer, say I went to a boot camp or I taught myself, as I was running into these things, whether Docker, operating systems, networking, these core computer science concepts, I would have had to learn by myself, right? You would have to fill in that knowledge in your own time. Boot camps, I can confidently say, they don't really touch on computer science concepts, core computer science concepts all that much, because they only have about 3 to 4 months to get you from little to no programming experience to job ready. So they try to focus on as much practical things as possible, and core computer science concepts are kind of the underlying information that you need to know or rather underlying information that will help you as you progress on to more complex projects, etc., etc. Right at the beginning, like, you can throw together a website and things like that without really knowing core computer science concepts. But I think as you start to work on more complex problems, that's when those core computer science concepts are really going to come in handy. And if again you went a boot camp route or you went the self-taught route, you're going to be having to fill those gaps in on your own time. Whereas if you went the degree route, you would have learned that in your degree, which I believe is extremely valuable and another reason I advocate for a degree. All right, I'm just flipping my page on my Kindle. But all right, so next point I want to bring up. Some places still have a degree requirement, right? Now, this may not be relevant to all of you because maybe you want to exclusively work for companies that don't have degree requirements, but there are still a decent amount of companies that have degree requirements. One example that I know of is the government, especially when you're working for the government of Canada, where I live. They tend to have a requirement of holding a degree. Some of them are more flexible, where they're okay with you holding any degree, doesn't have to be computer science. But generally speaking, for software engineering type positions, they do want to see the computer science or a closely related degree. Now, this is again just another pro in the book for the degree, right? Because in the worst case scenario, say you have a degree and you end up working for a company that doesn't have that requirement. Well, you still have that kind of safety net to fall back on, that should you ever move on from this company and really want to work for a company that has the requirement, you've already done the hard work, you have your piece of paper, and you are eligible to apply for that company. Whereas if you went the self-taught route, you went the boot camp route, okay, now you're at a company that doesn't have that degree requirement, that's great, but you see this great opportunity that you really want in that other company, but that has a degree requirement. That door is kind of shut off for you now, right? So again, maybe a small thing for some of you. Maybe some of you are just like, okay, I have no interest in working for a company that has a degree requirement, but I think it's still worth calling out that a degree is still this kind of safe piece of paper to fall back on. It still has value in the job market. It still is something tangible that you can show off to say, hey, I know this thing. I spent 4 years learning this subject. I know this subject. And, this piece of paper does have value, again, out in the job market and in general. So in conclusion, I think the value proposition for a degree is very strong, right? For the most part, the way I see it, if you have a degree, you're getting all these pros, and you're still obviously going to be able to apply to any jobs that a self-taught or bootcamp engineer will be able to apply to, right? So you're getting all these pros, plus, again, any opportunity that's open to a self-taught person is also open to you. So it just seems like, you're getting more benefit. Of course, I understand there's the time investment and cost investment, and that's not feasible for everyone, right? I completely understand that. But again, I just feel like the value proposition for a degree is very strong, to the point that if you have the time, if you have the money, 100% that's the path I'd recommend you go. With that said, again, we see counterexamples all the time of people being hired, without a degree. Less so these examples come up now because of the economic situation. I wouldn't be surprised that once the economy, this tech kind of bubble that's burst, once it starts to recover again, we start to see more of these self-taught success stories. But regardless, we see these self-taught success stories fairly often, so it would be just false of me to say that it's not possible. It is possible to get hired without a degree, but again, I feel the value proposition for a degree is strong, so I would say strongly consider it. Right? Again, I don't know your situation, the person who's watching this, so I can't give a complete recommendation one way or the other. But I would definitely say strongly consider it. It worked out well for me, and I definitely hope it works out well for you. And that is all I have for this video. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.